Hey friends out there in YouTube land, Rob here. Today we're going to be talking about Yolo Cam, and I cannot wait to share with you some of the stuff that we've got going on. So if you're ready to jump into it, let's do that. We're actually looking through here for Yolo Cam, but I want to share with you what Yolo Cam is actually doing. So as we're all right here, let's check it out now. So Yolo Cam, as you see it on the screen, I got it pulled up here. We're going to go in for a closer look. I've got everything set up, so maybe later I'll show you some things. But I want you to look and see what YoloCam is and think of it as more than a webcam, more than a smart webcam. It's an interchangeable lens mirrorless camera that has a lot of AI functionality built into it, like face tracking. You can see the app up there. We'll go into that in just a minute. But more importantly, it's a completely different way to go about thinking of your video for your live stream. When you're using the computer, whether you're using an ATEM Mini Pro or an ATEM Mini or whatever, whether you're using Yolo Box, whether you're using RGB Link, a Mini or an ISO Pro, whatever you're using, even if you're using like eCam support or just as an HDMI interface for OBS Studio, wow, YoloCam does quite a bit. And the first thing that it does is we're going to come back over here and share with you this. So it's going to give you that beautiful blurry background and depth of field, as well as awesome focusing, right? So as you can see, it focuses nice and fast. If you want to show something, it's real easy. So it's got a lot of smart features that are built into it. Like I said, again, we'll jump into those later. But right now, I want to take you over here to the main screen so you can kind of see what YoloCam is. Up here, YoloCam is this device. See, we've got some ports on the back, which HDMI, USB-C, two of those, one for power, one for communication, and it is a huge micro four thirds sensor. This is a big sensor. Right now, I'm using a 15 millimeter Panasonic lens, f1.8, and that's really like a 30 millimeter equivalent on full frame. Beautiful lenses you can see right there. And let's come back over here. As we continue scrolling down, just so that you can see 6K or 4K at 60 frames per second, micro four thirds, great for podcasts, but more importantly, look at how we're actually integrating directly in. We've got these big, gigantic ports on the back, which are robust, that have locking connections, and they make it so that it works great for you. When we look at all that together, there are so many things that Yolo Cam can do for you. You might say, what is it doing that my webcam can't do? Well, the first part that it's doing is this again. We're actually looking at it and we're seeing that beautiful blurry background. That's a real blurry background, and we can blur it even more. In the settings, we can change things, we can chroma key, but it's just, you're not going to get that with your regular webcam on your computer, on your phone, or anything like that. And since it integrates natively, it makes things work easily. Let me share with you one of the things that I enjoy about it right here. As we're coming over here, you can see that we've got Yolo Box and ATEM Mini Pro support, Yolo Box and your Yolo Cam and your computer, in-stream support, as well as TikTok Studio and things like that. It's all built directly into the device, which means it just works right out of the box. However, when we come over here into our palette setting and selector, I'll show you that in just a minute, we have so many different options to go to change our different settings so that we can have direct control over our color, our image, our background, chroma keying, lens correction, everything that you can think of. It really is a well thought out device. The next thing that it does is it's powered by AC mains, which means you plug it in and it's just on. It does not have an off button, which means it's on the entire time that you are talking, which means that while it's on, you don't have to worry about it stopping or overheating or anything like that. And the reason is it's made out of aluminum, and because it's made out of aluminum, it passively cools. So there are no fans in it, you won't hear any kind of noises, and things work well for a long time, because cooling with 4K 60 can sometimes be difficult, especially if you're going to use this in a scenario where you've got lots of other things and it could get hot. Now, you know it's on when the light's on. We've got a hot shoe on top of it, which is nice because that hot shoe, well, it's actually a cold shoe, that allows you to put microphones, and there is an audio button on the back of it, which allows it to connect different types of mics and things to it. Let me see if I can get a picture of that right there for you. So as we're coming over here and looking, check it out. You can see the different shape and design of the lens, whatever lens that you want to put on right there. And it is natively put together so that it works in the portrait orientation. However, it does come with a little guard right here, a little L bracket that allows you to use it in of course, landscape orientation, whichever you want. So for me, I want you to kind of come and look down here. When I sit and I think about how I set everything up, we've got all my monitors that I want to share with someone for developing a podcast or just simply recording a show like something I'm going to share with you now. So the pieces of gear are, of course, my computer screen. Everything's coming out. We've got Yolo Cam. We've got my audio interface right over here, which is a Rodecaster Pro. I've got another over-the-shoulder camera right there, which is, of course, my trusty AGCX350. We've got Yolo Box Extreme and Yolo Deck. Yolo Box Extreme is recording, and everything that I want to do, if I want to do any of my switching and go between my different things that I've created, I can just simply tap the Yolo Deck right here. I can set all of that up. I can even start and stop background music if I choose to. What I want to do now is come over here and show you where I've been working. So I've been doing some work with real estate photography, right? So this is a use case of how I think you might use it. So if you were trying to show something, you especially have something that you wanted to share with a client, a team manager, things like that, Yolo Box will Extreme, all of them will act as a Zoom interface or a Google Meets interface or whatever you like, StreamYard, things like that. And the camera right here will also plug directly in and give you all the connection that you want with great image quality. Now, where you might find the most important thing is how do you show while you're describing things on the screen in Zoom and your Google Meet? Well, you can put together your different arrangements like you see right now. You've got me talking, we've got our overlays, we've got things that can come in and out. And now this can actually be what your viewers are seeing while you're streaming a lecture, a seminar, giving a presentation or anything like that. So I want you to see kind of how this works, and you can see everything's coming in. So as we've got everything over here, I'm going to give you just a little tutorial. We come through, we take our two shots, we open both of them over here in Photoshop. This is a flambient and ambient exposure. Together, they're called flambient. We want to make sure that our ambient exposure is on the top. We come over here, take our ambient exposure, set the luminosity, mask right there, bring the luminosity fill down to about 50%. As we're over here in the panel, we come down to the bottom, create a mask, tap the mask, hit the L button for the line tool, and now we're just going to make some lines. It's real simple. I'm going to do this entire window to show you how simple it is to do this window pull. Now, this is a tutorial specifically so that I can kind of show you how I would use it. Hit my shift button so I can come over here and grab another area to mask at the same time. I'm just coming through all of this. If I wanted to go a little bit more boutique, I might do each individual window light. The pane itself is called a light, right? So these little things right here that you can see moving around, those are the individual lights. Now that I've got both windows selected, I'm going to right-click, select feather, 2-pixel radius. On my keyboard, I'm going to hit G, which brings up my paint bucket tool. I've selected black as my primary color, and then bam, now we've got a window pull straight through these. Now, as that window pull allows us to see through them, we can now see the ambient and the flash through this particular image, and we can choose how much we want to go. Straight flash, straight ambient. A mix of both is really where you'd like to be most of the time. And at this point in time, we're really looking nice. Now, in this particular shot, we're done. We click close right here, we say yes, and we come back over to Lightroom. As you can see, I'm still in here, but if I want to give you the full screen view without me, I can go ahead and take that off. I'm not going to do that right now. We're going to come back. I'm waiting right now for Photoshop to finalize those images, and now you see what it's done. It's added that image right here. So we've got this is our flash shot, we have our ambient shot, and then we have our flambient shot. Okay, because of that, I can now come over here, select all three by shift, drag, and select, right-click, and go to stacking, group into stack. Now I've got my edited image where I'm ready to do my final corrections. Go ahead and click auto, bring out a little bit of those bright lights, and I could even come in here if I wanted to and go ahead and do some touch-up with my Q. I can now touch up these big spotty areas, things like that. Tell it to remove. AI will go ahead and remove these things. Now, there is a bit of a shadow that we see up here, and I could go ahead and remove that if I chose to. But before I worry about any of those things, I'm actually going to come over here and talk to you about how to now keystone correct this. We would just select auto, and now, boom, we're straight. So if this was a real boutique kind of image that I was working for, I might actually come up here, and I might take the flash, some of the shadow out just by doing like this. And sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. I'm just going to go ahead and give you this as an example of the type of tutorial that you might make when using this kind of a tool in this way. Boom, now we've got something. We can select our different views, and we're kind of okay. From there, we can come back to a regular look. So how does all that work together? Well, I think it works together just as easily as you would see. We've got this excellent image, this camera right here, that builds together on the whole platform, but it doesn't necessarily have to build together on just a whole platform, because we can actually use this other ways. So if we come down here, where are we? We're going to come now over here and bring our settings in. So now you can see the settings app right there, and I'm going to bring both images up. The smaller images is me directly from the camera. The other one is the settings, and you'll be able to see some of the previews as they're going through. Come up here to my graphics settings. I can choose all kinds of things, 16 by 9, or I can choose 9 by 16. I can flip vertical and horizontal. Of course, I can also choose the resolution that I would like, which will be 4K the majority of the time, unless you tell it something otherwise. When we're done with that, we can check our image settings. We've got different types of default sharpening. As you can see, it's getting real sharp, too much sharp, too little sharp, things like that. About 10 seems to be okay. We can choose a contrast. This is how we go ahead and update everything. We can even change our saturation if we wanted to. We can move and correct our distortion just right there. As you can see, I'm clicking that little button, and there's a distortion correction for the lens. I think we're looking good right there. This particular device is set up for the Panasonic 15 and 25. It's optimized for the lens of the Panasonic 15 and Panasonic 25, so that 30 and 50 millimeter view, best, which means that it's already ready to go if you're using one of those lenses. If not, you can choose those different parameters that you see up here to make everything look nice. As we continue back, let's come back over here so that we can see both of them too. So you get both of them. And then we've got, of course, our shading. If we wanted to, some lenses you may need to change the shading, which is basically the vignette that the lens might naturally have, so you would go for that. As we continue our look down, we can now change how we want to focus. You've got different channels of focus. Basically, this is kind of, in my understanding, this is talking about the circle of confusion frequency, right? This gets into some stuff. I think maybe this could be discussed a little bit differently on here, but realistically, what we're talking about is how the sensor is going to focus. You're just telling it how you want to focus. 0 is default, but you can tell it to focus more in depth or more out of depth, or more depth of field or less depth of field, because what the camera's actually doing, what the sensor is doing at this point in time, is looking for how much of the foreground and background image is in focus. Now, you can also tell it if you want it to focus on the face, like it's doing. You can see it's drawn a square around my face. Autofocus single, where it takes one focus measurement and stops, or autofocus continuous, based on a small, large, or a custom area, as you see right here. I'm going to go back to face because this is a talking head, but you could see where if you were doing something with a group of people, this could be important, where you could track a group or you could track an individual person based on the face or not. Coming over here, we've got a focus speed, standard or fast. I generally choose standard for this kind of stuff or fast for this kind of stuff, because you're going to want to see it when it comes through. And if you choose standard, it will just allow for a little bit more stickiness before it begins searching for focus again. If there were people moving around a lot, you might want to have the standard speed rather than the fast speed. That way the focus didn't seem to change often as your crowd or people were moving around. Continuing on along, we've got zoom. We can actually zoom in and out, and as we zoom in and out, we're able to just get that perspective that we want. This is a 4K sensor. It's a micro four thirds sensor, so there's quite a bit of wiggle room right here to use however you want. Zoom as much as you wish. Now, when we get on to exposure, this is where you're going to be able to choose specifically how you want it to expose. You can choose manual or AI. Okay, AI is going to go through a customization process. I'm just going to go back to auto. It's where I like it. And then we can also choose to have the f-stop go all the way down to like f1.7. Now that background is really, really blurring out. You can also choose to over and underexpose based on whatever settings that you choose right here. All of this is just like with your regular camera, which is something that makes this thing so just really neat. We've got our white balance. Now we can choose to change our white balance. You can see the temperature is changing in nice little steps. I like it kind of over here a little bit warmer. Because of the lights that I've got in the background and everything else like that. It looks real nice. And then we've got our audio settings. Now, I don't have anything connected right here, but if I did, you'd be able to change all of those directly on your settings program on YoloBox Compose. That's what software this is. Because we're here, we can also choose our audio latency, as you see right down here at the bottom. The nice part about that is, as you're looking down here at the bottom, you see all this latency. All of these settings are so easy to adjust. They're so easy to get to. It's just like using a regular camera because it's so much more than just a webcam. It's not a webcam. It's a micro four thirds camera, which is really great. As we're moving on along down here, we've got automatic gain control, and that brings us to the end of our camera settings. When we come over here to our camera palette, some other things are going to happen. This is going to begin to capture the image and allow you to do a color detection. So let's take this image capture and look at, this is a fast image capture. It's going to now allow us to change the color selection that we might want to do a green screen or change the hue. We're changing the individual nodes. Notice as we bring that brightness out, the image is breaking down right now because I'm not attempting to show you exactly like perfection. I'm going quickly, but you could then come back in and adjust your hue, saturation, and luminance of each individual part of your image. This is how you would color correct your entire image, which makes it work very similar to the type of sliders that you're used to working with in Adobe Premiere Pro. This is your hue, saturation, luminance correction, or the wheels that you work with when you're in DaVinci Resolve. And you've got it built in right here. Now, I'm going to redo this because I don't care about that color correction, but you can save several of these different color corrections, and it makes quite a bit of sense to use it in different lighting environments. Think about keying and things like that. When we come over here to the scene, we can choose different types of scenes. It's going to help us find what it is that's actually being chosen as a live scene, and then from there, it's going to allow us to set up different scene selections that we can choose to and come back to quickly. So if you've got stuff that you do in a podcast setting, and sometimes you use a particular set of par lights and wash lights in the background with some fill lights and then some key lights on your subject, you can change that. But then if you, let's say you change the entire setup and you want to do more of a over the shoulder or an explainer video that we're doing kind of right now, you can also move over here and have everything right on top of the image so that you can see it this way. You can set those and save them individually. Now, I don't do a lot of that myself. Instead, what I generally do is the talking head style videos, as you see right here. And we're back to face, and there you go. So when we look at YoloCam as a device, as a tool that helps you create for whatever it is that you might want to do, it's a really big thing. I like it quite a bit. It's been very helpful in meetings, virtual meetings, as well as explainer videos. And it's also been great for things like this. I want to show you. If you don't realize what I usually do, most of the time I'm recording something like this. We're outside, and I know that you can kind of see what's actually here right now. So these types of shots right here are a place where YoloCam would do 100% excellent because it would allow you to set up YoloCam in a powered station and event, just like we have right here, where you're getting these different types of shots. Now, if we wanted to look at it a little bit differently, I know some of this, I'm going to zoom forwards a little bit so that you can kind of see. Boom. As we're looking right here, we've got all different types of inputs that are coming through. We've got a drone footage that's going on. Let me see if we skip through just a little bit. We've got some steady cams that are just, or single cams. We've got some AI cameras that are moving around as well. And all of these things work together as one piece of equipment, one system that helps you bring just the whole entire package to your client. YoloCam is invaluable for that because you can turn it on and it stays on. You can use individual lenses, real lenses, rather than just whatever lens is built into it. You can use the lenses you already have for your camera system. Even if you needed to use adapters, you could. But the point is, you have a real camera in your pocket, well, on a stand, that can support those operations. And you have access, unlike a webcam, just because it's small, you have full access to actually take this and customize it per scene on how you're using it. I can't explain to you how excited that is. I mean, it might sound geeky and nerdy, but it is great. I absolutely love it. So with that, my friends, I'm going to come back over here and say, hey, we've had a great time today. We're talking about Yolo Cam. I hope that you have enjoyed this. We're going to go ahead and chit chat, and I'll send you guys out on a high note. I want to thank you so much for watching and remind you, I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.